Welcome to Reflection Tuesday for September 15th, 2020. St. John's Gospel today says, standing by the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple there whom he loved, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And from that hour the disciple took her into his home. In today's gospel, Jesus is alone except for 4 women who loved him and John. Several Bible commentaries explain the presence of these women at the cross. They all pretty much say that the only reason they could be there is because women in general were so insignificant and unimportant, nobody even noticed them. They weren't entitled to an opinion. They certainly couldn't have anything important to say. After all, they weren't men. So basically, who cares? Nobody cared if they hung around at the cross or not. What a bunch of baloney. It was always dangerous to associate in any way with a man who was believed to be a heretic, troublemaker, a fanatic, believed to be so dangerous he needed to be crucified. They weren't at the cross because they were so pitifully insignificant that nobody would notice or care. They were at the cross because they weren't afraid. Nothing anyone could do or say could make them afraid. Here's a present-day true story that's a good analogy. On August 28, 2015, the first 2 females graduated from the Army Ranger School. Captain Kristen Griest was one of them. This school is where Special Forces gets their people. Ranger School is the hardest course the Army has, 2 months long. Carrying 100 pounds of gear, you easily have 20-hour days that push you to the absolute limit, physically and mentally. In June of 2015, 364 wannabe Rangers started the course. On August 28th, 88 graduated. After my own 27 years in the Army, I refer to graduates of Ranger School as bug eaters. It's a title of respect. Captain Griest got in the school because she wasn't afraid. Nothing anyone could do or say could make her afraid. She was so not afraid, it was sort of scary. A classmate, Second Lieutenant Zachary Hagner, told a story about how on the last day of the 21-day mountain phase, which immediately precedes the famous swamp phase, he was crashing and burning because he had to carry the squad's M60 machine gun, appropriately called the Pig, because it's like carrying a pig. An extra 23 pounds on top of the 100 pounds you are already hauling up the mountain at the end of 21 days that were all 21 hours long before you sleep in the rain. He wasn't going to make it. So he asked his squad for help. The only person who would help was Kristen Griest. He said she actually looked excited when she grabbed the M60 away from him. She wasn't afraid. Nothing anyone could do or say could make her afraid. You can easily see then how the 4 women at the cross were early Christian bug eaters. They were simply and absolutely not afraid. They loved Jesus, and perfect love casts out fear. It makes fear ineffective. Nothing anyone could say or do could make them afraid. And so it's true. Jesus' mom was a bug eater. She stayed the course. She finished the course. Imagine the strain, the emotional toll. Let's face it, she was probably up all night long the night Jesus was taken into custody. Not likely she went home for a comfy night's sleep on that Thursday night, either seeing her son tortured or at least getting bits and pieces from others, each little bit of news ripping into her heart. But for Mary, it didn't matter what the Jews or the Romans thought. He was her son. Now, this gospel is not just about Mary and bug eaters and pigs. This gospel shows us the essential Jesus, beaten and tired and crucified and dying. He looked down at his mother and thought about what was coming in the next few days. In agony on the cross, with salvation of the whole world on the line, coming to the end of this battle, he thought about his mother and the coming loneliness for her. He couldn't ask the other guys to take care of her. They were all hiding. So he commits his mother to John's care, his cousin, the disciple whom he loved. She is to be his mother and our mother. So even at the end of that day, hanging on the cross, Jesus was thinking more about the anguish and sorrows of others than his own problems. That is the essential Jesus. You know how I like to end my reflections with questions, and today's no exception. Do you love him enough to be a bug eater for Jesus, where nothing anyone can do or say can make you afraid? And if so, has God given you a pig to carry? And if God has given you a pig to carry on his behalf, like Captain Grease, are you excited about carrying it? Peace be with you. Stay safe and healthy. See you next week.